Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. Denying she's been tortured could get this Saudi activist released, but she says she's not prepared to lie. Tree huggers of the world unite. Stopping the rapid deforestation of the planet will ease the climate crisis. BTS are on a break. We look at what made the Bangtan Boys so big. And an animal doing something kind of brave in today's Animals Doing Stuff. And at the top of our newsfeed, Loujain al Hathloul. Now, she's a women's rights activist who's been imprisoned in Saudi Arabia. She's been offered her freedom in exchange for retracting statements that says she's been tortured. But Loujain says she refuses to lie to secure her freedom. Here's Liz with all the detail.
Loujain al Hathloul has been fighting for women's right to drive in Saudi Arabia for years. This 2014 road trip landed her in jail for 2 months. But she continued campaigning, and just before Riyadh let women get behind the wheel last year, Loujain was one of about a dozen activists arrested in a crackdown on the women's rights movement. More than a year later, her family says she's rejected a proposal to secure her release.
I don't know what I'm risking by writing this. Maybe it will harm my sister too, but I can't keep it to myself. Loujain has been proposed a deal: deny the torture and she'll be free. Whatever happens, I'm certifying it one more time. Loujain has been brutally tortured and sexually harassed.
Loujain's brother and sister say she initially agreed to sign a secret statement retracting claims of torture, but then refused to appear on camera. Loujain faces charges of attempting to destabilise the kingdom and having contact with foreign media, diplomats and human rights groups.
Loujain has been tortured in a secret facility, and the kind of tortures that she was facing is electrocutions, beating, whipping, waterboarding. Also she had faced bad treatment and sexual harassment.
Saudi women are treated as legal minors their entire lives. They need permission from a male guardian to get a job, marry, divorce, travel, undergo surgery, or even be released from prison. This month, the government announced it would allow women to apply for passports, but it's unclear whether they'll be allowed to travel abroad alone. And while the Saudi Crown Prince is trying to give his country a more modern image, many campaigners say these piecemeal changes and the treatment of Loujain and other jailed activists looks a lot less like true reform and more like a symbolic public relations campaign.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Ken Cuccinelli is trending. He's the man currently in charge of the US Immigration Department, and he suggested changing the poem on the Statue of Liberty from "Give me your tired, your poor and your huddled masses" to "Give me your tired and your poor who can stand on their own 2 feet and will not become a public charge." He also says the poem is about people coming from Europe. The Trump administration wants to make it as difficult as possible for people not born in America to get citizenship. And Greta Thunberg is setting sail to America to attend a climate change conference. She's given up flying for environmental reasons. She's become the figurehead for a movement of people demanding radical action to try and keep the planet habitable for humankind. She says she will not meet Donald Trump when she gets to America, as talking to him about this would be a waste of time. Donald Trump does not believe that humans are responsible for the climate crisis that we're all facing. This photo of a French politician climbing a glacier has been mocked by people online. That's because if you look in the back of the shot, 2 people seem to be walking quite normally, while the politician, Eric Wirth, in the foreground, seems to be perilously scaling a sheer cliff face. Mr. Wirth apparently made the mountain guide who took the photo tweet in his defense, saying that he's an excellent climber, which only added to the ridicule he's facing. And this is great. The tweets of a teenager called Dorothy, whose mum took away her phone, have gone viral after her attempts to stay online forced her to use all available connected devices. Now, after the phone went, she used a Nintendo DS to tweet, and when that was taken, she went onto her Wii U. And when that was confiscated, she tweeted from her parents' fridge, saying, "I'm talking to a fridge, what the heck? My mum confiscated all my electronics again." The tweets have gone viral and the hashtag #FreeDorothy trended for a while. Now, the latest reporting suggests Dorothy is still grounded. Well, here are a couple of terrifying stats. There hasn't been this much carbon in the atmosphere for 800,000 years, and sea levels are at a record high. These are the findings of a new study from the American Meteorological Society. Now, man-made climate change is rapidly making the planet uninhabitable. One of the reasons for the high levels of carbon in the atmosphere is the fact that so many trees are being cut down. And because, and here's the science bit, trees absorb carbon and emit oxygen, they're kind of vital for our survival. Ezra breaks it all down.
Not a day goes by without another headline reporting the scale of the climate crisis. So is there anything we can do? Scientists think there is a simple solution. A new report by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, or the IPCC, says the best thing we can do is cut down fewer trees. An estimated 15 billion are chopped down every year to make way for agriculture, urban development and mining. Last year, the IPCC said we need to plant at least 10 million square kilometres of forest by 2050 to keep the planet from warming 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. And some countries got to work. Ethiopia planted more than 350 million trees in just one day. If verified, that would be a world record. India and China have expanded their environmentalism efforts, and many other countries are following suit. But man-made forests don't make up for the real thing. It will take decades for us to reap the benefits of newly planted trees. Scientists say rainforests are irreplaceable and can't just be replicated in other parts of the world. They've found it's not only the number of trees we're losing that should make us worry, it's the type of trees being felled and where they're falling that's escalating the climate crisis. Deforestation in the Amazon increased by 278% in July, compared with last year. When trees are cut down, they release years of forest-stored carbon back into the air, and studies show that the Amazon stores more carbon than the world's reserves of fossil fuels. So while planting a tree is never a bad idea, if we can't protect what we already have, planting new trees may not be enough.
Okay, let's spin around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Wednesday. The World Health Organization says that the number of reported cases of measles has tripled this year. There have been 364,000 cases so far in 2019. That's compared to 129,000 between January and July of 2018. The WHO says that lies about vaccines are discouraging parents from inoculating their children, and fake news is being spread quickly on social media. There are outbreaks of the disease all over the world, but the WHO has highlighted its program in Madagascar, which has reported a huge drop in the number of cases following a nationwide vaccination campaign. Russia's government has launched an inquiry after this video of a woman being punched in the ribs by police went viral. It happened during some of the biggest protests in Russia in years. The government has challenged Google not to promote some of the videos of the demonstrations through YouTube notifications. And there's a petition on change.org which has 84,000 signatures to rename part of Fifth Avenue in New York City, that's the bit with Trump Tower on it, to President Barack H. Obama Avenue. Campaigners want to celebrate Obama's achievements and illustrate how much some people hate the current president.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to board flight to Salt Lake City from Gate 5. Will the only passenger on this flight kindly board at this time? That's me. Mr. Pioni?
Yes, I'm coming.
And a man in America called Vincent Leone posted this video on Twitter as he was the only passenger on board his flight. He was flying from Aspen to New York and amazingly was the only person flying that route at that time, which is a massive waste of money and resources by the airline Delta. Now, the boy band BTS are taking a break from all that dancing and singing to live their lives as normal 20-somethings, or so their management company says. So while you console yourself with their last album, which was called Love Yourself, Tear, here's a look at how they took over the world.
This is the biggest boy band in the world. This all-dancing, all-rapping, multicolored kaleidoscope of band from South Korea have conquered the world. They have 3 consecutive albums that topped the US Billboard charts in 2018, packed stadiums across the world, and have a bigger Twitter following than Beyonce and Ed Sheeran. And now fans are learning Korean to better connect with the lyrics. But how exactly did they get so big? This is the story of how the K-pop industry manufactured, developed, and shaped the cultural phenomenon that arguably has produced the biggest band in the world. Before 1987, South Korean music was mainly state-sanctioned, traditionally sung ballads. But that all changed after the country returned to democracy and when censorship was loosened and music could develop organically. Soon after, a boy band called Loujain Boys emerged onto a TV talent show and quickly became hugely popular, topping the Korean charts for a record-breaking 17 straight weeks, sparking the explosive popularity of K-pop. And just to emphasize just how popular K-pop is right now, 7 of the top 10 artists in the US in June 2019 were all from South Korea. Loujain Boys' choreographed dancing, infectious pop tunes, and group dynamics set the scene for the emergence of modern K-pop. Their success also marked the establishment of mega studios that shaped the industry. By 1998, there were 3 major studios churning out hits. SM Entertainment, JYP Entertainment, and YG Entertainment formed the basis of the K-pop machine. They developed a system for shaping the stars, which included auditions for children as young as 10, daily rehearsals for years, and behavioral training. The songs themselves would be written in-house with the studio, the choreography designed for the group, and the image manufactured by the studio. It meant K-pop had a particular look that was painstakingly shaped over years to make sure each song is a hit. But it took a while for them to create a band that cracked the international market. When BTS debuted their first song, it wasn't actually a huge hit. No More Dream debuted at 84 on the South Korean music charts. But what set them apart was that they didn't come from a major label. Instead, being developed by a startup label, Big Hit Entertainment. The smaller label had less industry connections and less money to promote the group, so relied on social media for promotion. BTS were one of the first K-pop groups on Twitter, and they've shared much of their everyday life online. From pulling pranks on each other to eating noodles to arguing and even sitting in taxis, they've worked hard to share every element of their lives with their fans. The clips help build a sense of authenticity and intimacy to the band and makes them stand out amongst a sea of manufactured big studio bands. And it has helped them build an enormous fan base who call themselves the BTS Army. The Army is an active, organized fan group that has previously translated tweets and subtitles, helping connect BTS with non-Korean speaking audiences. Eventually, their rising fame led to starring appearances on The Jimmy Kimmel Show and The Ellen Show, and to their albums topping the US chart. With the success of BTS came a slew of imitators, and many of them have found success internationally. And the consequences could be huge, with many fans learning Korean and imitating the stars' looks and mannerisms. This could lead to an entire generation of Americans and Westerners brought up on bands that reject traditional notions of pop stars and masculinity. With their brightly colored outfits, use of makeup, and dance routines flying in the face of most traditional pop stars in America. And in a time where there's rising racism and xenophobia in America, the changing landscape of pop music could stir things up a bit.
All right, and in today's Animals Doing Stuff, it's animals in places they're not supposed to be. Have a look at this moose. It wandered out onto the edge of a cliff and found there was no way to get out but to go down, so it had to take a leap of faith.
Do it! Oh no!
Oh no, indeed, but never fear. Old Moosey is an excellent swimmer. It pops up and off it goes. Let's have another little look at it fly from that cliff. It looks like the moose, there he goes, wandered out onto that cliff to find some food and then got stuck. This all happened at Nippers Harbour in Canada. And from all the Newsfeed team, we have some advice for old Moosey. In the words of Dory, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. And that will do you from the Newsfeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel and you can follow me on Twitter. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again tomorrow.